Hello, it's Ranger Russ from Meigs Nature Center at Hammonasset Beach State Park. And this afternoon I am not at Hammonasset Beach State Park. I am at Osbornedale State Park in Derby, Connecticut. Another one of the jewels of the Connecticut State Park system. This park is absolutely beautiful. I'm actually sort of on the back side of it. Most people visit the other side of the park, but there's some really neat things over here that I was told about. I had some inside information, so thank you, Sue. I am going to be in the hunt for some beavers. We're going to start out going up the trail here. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see, and I'll do my intros and all those sorts of things as we go. So let's turn the camera around. Now, I did get a gimbal in for the camera, but it's not connected to the camera yet. The software or whatever is not quite hooking up. So we're gonna go with just this in my hand for now. Now you can see, hiking in the springtime, there's a lot of water on the trail, so it's a good idea to have a good pair of boots, good pair of waterproof boots. You don't want to go too much off on the sides of the trails, because you're gonna spread the damage out all over the place. But if you try and step on rocks, it's a lot better for the trail system. Okay, so Osbornedale State Park. This was made a state park in 1956. It was willed to the people of the state of Connecticut by the Osbornedales. They ran a farm here. They raised cows. They actually bought up several farms in the area. One of their farms was known for producing award-winning Holsteins. All right, look at this big oak tree here, came down. Looks like it did some damage to the boardwalk, but they've cleared it away. Look at the root mass over there at the end of this tree. This happens a lot. When trees come down, the roots pop up like this. Not necessarily a bad thing. This just changes the environment, changes the habitat. So we'll circle a little bit, and we're going to go take a look at what this does to the habitat. So you can see the tree was growing shallow roots, lots of rocks right at the surface. So this tree grew right over all of these rocks. These look like rocks left by the glacier. The root mass brought up some rocks with it. Look, there's some big flat stones right there. Okay. This is really a cool spot. Look at all the dirt and soil. So this was a very large tree, and it took a good chunk of the soil with it. I'm gonna guess that if it had more room to grow its roots, less rocks around here, the roots probably would have been able to hold this tree up. It looks like a pretty strong tree. But there could always be a microburst, just a high wind in one area for a short time that just bashes a tree and knocks it down. That can happen. All right, we're going to continue down this trail. Now, I've been out on the trails here at Osbornedale before. I don't know that I've ever been on this trail. I don't remember this trail. So it's a good chance to walk along. I don't know if any of you saw, I post on Instagram. It's under ranger.russ. If you go follow on Instagram, I give little bits of what I'm doing each day. And I got some pictures of some ephemeral flowers yesterday when I was doing the birdry nest. A bumblebee just buzzed by me. I don't know where it went. It disappeared already. So I got a picture of some purple trillium. Really cool flower. It is protected in Connecticut, so don't go picking them. Some Dutchman's breeches, another cool flower. So if you go, you can go to Instagram and take a look at those neat flowers. And I take photos while I'm doing this. I'll put those up there. Instagram, shorter videos though, so nothing as elaborate as we're doing here. All right, so take a look. This is really green all around us. Not a lot of green up in the trees yet, okay? But unfortunately, all of this green that you're seeing is invasive plants. These are, looks like, all roses. So invasives tend to bloom before the natives. Actually, here's a burning bush. Okay, so these are some plants that we don't really want to see popping up across our trail. But they bloom earlier than the native plants. It gives them a head start, and that's what makes them so aggressive. That's what makes them so hard to control, because they get a head start. There's actually, here's another one. This is Japanese barberry. So we've got multiflora rose, Japanese barberry. Now I'm questioning whether that was burning bush or not. Gonna have to look at my video. I'm already past it. Could have been honeysuckle. I didn't look close enough. You should always take a close look at these things. Alright, so here's some more Japanese barberry. This is a thorny plant. The roses are thorny. So all the green you see, you don't really want to wander off the trail too much and run into that. Alright. I appear to have gone down a dead-end trail. So, let's go back and see where I lost my way. Here we go. Now here's something that we can look at. This vine here is another invasive. Okay, that is Oriental bittersweet. And then here, this vine with the root is poison ivy, which I am not going to touch, because you can get poison ivy from any part of the plant at any time of the year. All you have to do is get the euchral oils on you, and then you're going to get it. Here's another invasive. This is wineberry. It looks kind of like a raspberry. Has thinner, finer thorns and a red stem. Produces a beautiful red, looks like a really super red raspberry type fruit that is very sweet and tasty. But again, it is invasive, so not something that we typically want to see. Here's a nice violet. So the violets are out already, and we see this whitish purple one, and then a darker purple one, and a dandelion. Lots of invasives in here. So we have the same thing at Hammonasset. If you walk in through Hammonasset now, anything you see that's in bloom is not a native, unfortunately. Ooh, I hear some birds. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds. I should have put my microphone in. You may have been able to pick them up a little better. Alright, looks like some people might be having some connection issues. Hopefully you're all able to watch this, because we're coming up on the good part. We are approaching the place, the pond, where hopefully we will see some beavers. Now, if you look over here, you see the pond right here. And you see that there looks like a ring of trees, and the water is beyond the ring of trees. That ring of trees is typically the edge of the pond. And the beavers have dammed it up and flooded back further from the pond. beavers are actually good for the environment. They change the environment. They will turn a field or just an area with a river going through it into a pond, or a small pond into a larger, almost a lake. That's good. That provides change. You don't want your environment to stay the same all the time. And it's kind of windy, and I'm thinking that the microphone is going to pick up the sound, so I'm going to put in my little portable microphone and see if this works better for you guys. So if you look out here, we can see that the beavers have expanded the pond. Now the question is, why do the beavers need to dam up? There's already water there, so why would they dam up the pond and create more water? And the answer for that is pretty simple. The beavers are searching for trees. They eat trees, they eat the bark. The inner layer of the trees, the cambium, is their main food source. And in order to get those trees, they don't like to leave the water. They like to just go right up, gnaw on the tree while they're still in the water. Put this microphone in here in a second. Forgive the bouncing. The microphone, and hopefully that sound is a little bit better for you guys. So, the beavers are eating the trees, and in order to get more and more trees into the realm of their water, they will gnaw or build up the dam, flood out the trees, and get more and more trees into the pond. They will go out onto the edge of the pond. They cut the trees down. They will float sticks out and sink them down and save them for the winter. They have their babies late in the winter, early spring, and then the babies, or they breed late in the winter, early spring, and the babies are born in the early spring. Babies are called kits, and there are some historical references where they call them kittens, which I found fascinating. I've heard them called kits, but never kittens. There are lots of red-winged blackbirds flying through here, and I'm not sure if you can see them or hear them. Now, when I was a kid, everybody said the first sign of spring, or the bird that signified spring, was the robin. Nowadays, we say it's the red-winged blackbird, because there are many robins that don't migrate. So we're finding robins in the winter, so not really a sign of spring. The red-winged blackbirds come back time. See if you can pick up any of the sounds. That's sort of trilling, that's making its call. Now, I'm not seeing the beaver lot. There is a bird lined over there. It looks like get to it. So you can see this water, and let's go over how they're able to do that. Beavers build their dams. Water is moving, and if you poke a hole in the dam and create either sound, moving water, they are attracted to the sound, and their instinct is to dam it up. And when they feel, they will. So industrious to see. They will come out in the day sometimes. I've been lucky enough to spot them in the day. They do slap their tail, so they have a big, wide, flat paddle of a tail, and they will slap their tail on the water, warn of predators, and it will make you jump. I have had occasion quiet pond. I didn't think there was anything around. There was a beaver lodge, but again, they're mostly nocturnal. all of a sudden the beaver, he got up too close to me, behind me, slapped his tail on the water, and I just about jumped out of my kayak. So, very quiet swimmers. Now, most of the time, beavers go to the bathroom in the water, but you can't of beaver scat. The beaver scat is basically wood chip. When they go to the bathroom, they're going to get a bunch of wood chips there. Any truth to beavers eating trees to file their teeth? So the beaver is a rodent. It's our biggest rodent in Connecticut. And rodents have teeth that grow all the time. So they do have to keep on gnawing, keep on using their teeth, keep on wearing their teeth down, or their teeth will grow too large. There's a red-winged blackbird up there. Their teeth will start to grow out too long and create problems for them. So yes, they do wear their teeth down. That's just part of their everyday life, though, is gnawing on trees, cutting trees down for their lodge, cutting trees down for their dams, and cutting trees down for their food. Now, that's a good thing we should talk about. So this is a natural berm here that this trail is on. There's another small pond below. And somewhere along here, there's a drainage through. And the beavers, I'm not seeing a really large dam. They've plugged up the hole, the drainage, which should be in this area here. There's a pipe on the other side behind me. So down in here, the pipe must come out, and they've gone down and dammed it up underwater. Very clever of them. So in order to open that hole up, you would have to go swim out there and clear the other end of the pipe. So also here's something really cool. Look at this. A beaver has gnawed on this. What kind of tree is this? Looks like some kind of birch. But look at how it's gnawed away. It's getting at that cambium. Now it will cut a tree down completely. Again, they need the wood for their lodges and their dams. And I should say that their lodge and their dam are two completely separate structures. They will build a very large, long dam, but they do not live in the dam. The lodge is in the middle of the water. So they don't want to connect the lodge to any shoreline to protect them from predators. Okay. So that's pretty neat. And that is some fresh gnaw marks right there. You can see on the right, it's a little bit dried out and a little darker brown. On the left, that is fresh. You can still see the green on the edge, and it's still nice and moist. So that is a matter of hours old. So a beaver has gnawed on that recently, and you can see there's another little branch down there that they gnawed on. If it's dead, they're not going to eat it. They don't want to eat a dead, dried out branch. The cambium there is not going to be very great for them. All right. So back to beavers' teeth. They do need to keep wearing their teeth down. As rodents, their teeth continue to grow. But one of the really cool things about rodents, they're actually bright orange. And the reason for that is they have iron in their teeth. The outer layer, the front layer of their teeth have iron in it, and it continues to grow, and that's what they have to keep wearing down. If you want to take a look at this is kind of cool. A vine had grown around the trunk of this tree, constricting it. The tree continued to grow, and then someone came along and cut the vine away, and now there's a new vine actually growing, starting to wrap around there. So that's usually a sign of bittersweet that wraps around. It's an invasive that we get. I see a question, what do the beavers do in the winter? They go into their lodges. They have stored up branches down underwater, and they will gnaw on those. That's their food source for the winter. So primarily they're staying in the lodge in the winter or underwater to go out and get more branches and sticks. Now I noticed something really cool. I'm going to have to zoom in here. Can you guys see those black things in the trees over there? We've got some vultures. Look like turkey vultures from here. I have a hard time telling without some binoculars. I am wearing binoculars, but I'm talking to you guys, so I won't be able to zoom in. But the vultures have gathered together. A group of vultures is called a parliament or a kettle. Okay, so we have a parliament of vultures over there in the tree. All right, we're going to maintain our social distance. There's some people on the trail there, so I'm going to just cut across here. Remember, you need to maintain social distance in state parks. All the parks. 6 feet, 20 mice, 7 skunks, 5 possums, 1 bear. That's the distance between you and anyone you encounter on the trail. And you should have a mask on if you do encounter people on the trail. All right, so this lower pond, they've actually done a little bit of work here, damming it up. And we're going to take a look at the dam at this pond. Oh, there's a little access point. I'll also remind people that if you're out hiking on a trail, you don't want to go off the trail, all these little side trails. This one looks like it's mowed and groomed for access. I'm not sure if they allow fishing here. We'll have to take a look as we leave. So if you look over there, you see the Canada geese. Not Canadian geese. I know people want to call them Canadian geese. They're from Connecticut, so they're not Canadian. They're Canada geese. I believe they're actually named, it's the last name of a gentleman that named them, was Canada. So now take a look at this. There's a lot of water flowing over here. I actually went up that trail earlier. This is overflow from the dam that the Beaver have plugged up that hole, and the lowest point, you can look back and see the berm all the way along there. That's the man-made dam, and then the overflow from it is flowing down, and this is the cause of that Beaver dam plugging up the hole. Lots of water flowing across here. It's like a small stream. Gotta try and cross here. So I was saying earlier that the Osbornedales, they bought up a few farms. I think 350 acres is this park. And it was left to the state in 1956. They raised champion Holsteins, and they had a dairy farm with champion Jerseys. So those are 2 types of cows, and they were really well known for their quality of their cows, their championship cows. So this is where that water from overflowing from the dam is now flowing into this lower dam, and here, or the lower pond, you can see they've started, let's circle over here, you get a better view. Let's try and find the dam where the beavers are blocking this lower pond as well. Now they haven't made a very large structure here, but it looks like they've begun to dam this area up. Now sometimes this can happen naturally with just things flowing along and getting caught by the branches, but this looks to me like the beginnings of some beaver work. Again, they want the dam to extend the water so they can extend their food. If you look, that really looks like, I'm not sure if you can see through the twigs there, really looks like the beavers are building that up. Osbornedale is in Derby, Connecticut. Now, one of the interesting things The Kellogg Environmental Center is here. It's part of the within Osbornedale, and the Osborne Homestead Museum is here as well. So there's 3 facilities here that you should visit once the buildings are open. The museum and the environmental center are closed right now. But you should definitely come and visit once the quarantines are lifted and everything is open. But a really interesting thing about Mrs. Osborne is she was left quite a substantial business. Her family was in metal working and fabrics, and when her father died, she took over the business. Everyone expected her to sell off the business. That wasn't a job for women to do back then. And she went against the norms and ran that business, some say better than her father ever did. So I really want to contact the person that runs the Homestead Museum and set up a Zoom conference where we can ask her all sorts of questions and she can tell us the story of the homestead here. Now take a look. Here's another invasive. They've mowed it down, but it looks like it's starting to sprout up. This is Japanese knotweed. It looks like bamboo. It is not bamboo. People always encounter it and believe that it is bamboo, and then they bring it home because some people really like bamboo. But it's not bamboo. It is an invasive, and they've mowed this down. Another cool thing about the property here, before the Osbornedales had it, it was actually during the Revolutionary War, they mined silver here. So it was never productive, never profitable, but they did mine silver here in Derby, Connecticut, which is another fascinating thing to me. All right, do I see any questions here? I think people are, I love to do these walking, talking things. You never know what I'm going to encounter. So I'm seeing a lot of people saying the sound is so much better. So I should have started with the microphone. Oh, I just heard a woodpecker. I wonder if I can find it. All right, let's go over here. Just see if we can see this woodpecker. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Now, when you hear a woodpecker drilling on a tree, that doesn't mean that they're looking for food necessarily. They could be drilling for food, but that's how the males attract the females. There's a lot of cover up there. That's where it's coming from. Let's just walk over here. We can take a look at the informational sign. I believe that there's no fish. Oh, there's a male mallard. The mallards are one of those ducks that are sexually dimorphic, which means the male is different from the female. There's a good vocabulary word there. The males are different from the females. The males have all these bright colors, the green head, ruddy red chest, lighter back. The females are all brown with the sort of a bluish stripe on the wing. So, and that's because the females have to sit on the nest. She needs to be camouflaged, have great cover when she's sitting on her eggs, so it's harder to find her. And he doesn't have to worry about that because he doesn't sit on the eggs. And he needs to attract the female, so he needs to flaunt his shiny green head around. They also, now I grew up on a river and I got to watch them a lot. The female would feed in the sticks, in and out of the sticks. So if you look over here, in and out of these little branches, she would stay really close to the shore, and the male would be out in the middle. So he was almost like a target for, oh look, there's a robin digging in the mud. The robins like to eat worms. Let's see if I can zoom in here. There's a little robin. Robins will actually bounce on the ground, and that simulates raindrops, the patter of raindrops hitting the ground, which causes the worms to come up out of the ground. The worms don't want to stay down in the ground as it gets flooded, so the robins will bounce around and try and lure the worms up. Not always successful, but sometimes the worms will come up for the robins. Okay, and I'm going to pan over here because this is the Osborne Homestead Museum right here. It has beautiful gardens over there. They do tours when the museum is open. You can tour it. You can see the beautiful flowering trees. Absolutely gorgeous. Really awesome museum. Great grounds. And behind that is the Kellogg Environmental Center. They do a lot of educational programs out of here. If you visit meigspointnaturecenter.org, our virtual learning center has a link to the facilities over here. And I am on the other side of the road. And I do see a sign that says no fishing. So this little pond here, these little ponds are no fishing. There's a larger pond up top, which I believe you can fish in. So, all right. Do we have any last minute questions? Do beavers prefer certain tree over others? I believe that they say that they do have preferences in some of the bark. Fruit trees, I think, are one of the things that they prefer as far as flavor goes. But I don't think that they're very selective in the middle of the winter, and when they really need food, they're going to eat just about anything. Do several generations live together? I think you're talking about the beavers there. And no. So once the kits are grown, the parents chase them off, send them off to find their own body of water. So they're going to go either up or down a stream and try and find a place where they can build a dam. If it's a large enough lake, they may move to the other side of it and live on the other side. But I don't know that I've ever seen two beaver lodges on the same body of water. Someone says they hiked Salmon River. Awesome. Saw bald eagle. Even better. This is pretty cool. I would like to do Salmon River. That's another great state park. I'll reach out to the supervisor there and see if they have on parks that are not getting a whole lot of visitors. We need to spread people out and try and visit we can. So if I don't go to a park that you think that's a really popular park, it may just be because there are already lots of people that know about it and visiting it. So we want to spread it out. Someone says the fields of milkweed. I should have shown you as I was walking along. I saw lots of the seed packs from last year's milkweed. Let's see if I can find any. Got some wild onion popping up here. I should have showed you those when I saw them. So here is, looks like a fruit tree right here, and they've put a fence around it. And it looks like the fence has been there a while, so maybe they've had beavers in the past and they're trying to protect this tree from the beavers. That's a good idea. Okay. Any other questions? All right. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. I'm going to do these programs Tuesday to Friday, 11 and 2 o'clock. Usually it's going to be an animal in the morning, afternoon, but I may have to change the order. Like today I came out because tomorrow and the next day looks like we could be running into some more rain. So it's a good opportunity for me to get out here to this beautiful park. I'm really impressed with how beautiful it is here. Time before all the plants are blooming. Just imagine this field with all the flowers in a month. This is going to be loaded with flowers. So again, you can see all of the video on our virtual learning center, Meigs Point. We're going to be putting up more information on the website as well. Here's coming up hopefully. And we're also getting some contributors, some naturalists that I know will be doing little write-ups for me that I can add to the website. Here comes a very loud vehicle. They need a muffler. All right, you can watch the red-winged blackbirds there. And again, we have a program coming up on the decline of horseshoe crabs. If you would like to sign up for that program, go to the meigspointnaturecenter.org calendar of events. It will direct you. There's an email so you can send in and get your spot in our virtual Zoom lecture. 300 people in the Zoom lecture, so get your seat now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it looks like things are filling up online. People are really looking for some content, so we will be also putting up, there's another event coming next Saturday. It hasn't been confirmed for sure, but we're shooting for next Saturday at 2 o'clock. I will be interviewing Dr. Don Rankin about the 19. He has been doing extensive research. He's reached out to doctors that are actually working on patients in the hospitals. So if anyone has any questions, you will have an opportunity, if we can set it up, to send in a chat question for him and he can answer it live at Zoom conference. So that again is May 9th at 2 o'clock. All right, I'm going to sign off. If everyone enjoyed this presentation at Osbornedale State Park in Derby, Connecticut, and I will see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Please continue to put your comments up and we'll answer them as we can.